What's up, everybody? Welcome to Clutch's Corner. Let's go ahead and get straight on into it. So we're going to start things off with, weeklies that I'm looking at. Beautiful failed two on DLTR. Now, it was on the watch list last week, and that took out all the price targets down to the penny and then rejected off of that perfectly. So we can see that the algorithms down here are strong. And if it is anything like what happened down here, we could be seeing the nice big rise. We had a couple tries. Buyers and sellers fought. So far, the buyers are the ones that are kind of winning things. You can tell by the candles. The wicks on top are much smaller than the wicks on bottom, which means the seller's activity, although strong during some parts of the day, by the end of the weeks at least, they lose all that momentum. So we're looking for this to explode back to the upside. Price targets can be found on the daily. Huge wick right here off of this too, so we're not going to ignore that. We got to get past whatever pushed us down from here. If we do get past this, then we'll come test the top of this two, and I'm putting it at the two, not the three, because we have pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4 things wicking all off of this one area. This got really close. We didn't quite hit it, but still I can see that the algorithm is here. And then the top of that candle will be the last weekly price target, which extends a little bit beyond into this three. But as far as range goes, completely has the ability to make that as far as its range goes. All right. So next we have Amazon. Now, Amazon, if you're going for calls, you don't have any price targets. Just being completely transparent with you, you're going into all-time highs. We do have a really nice looking failed two, though, rejecting the all-time highs on the weekly. Moving into the daily time frame, we're going to extend out just a little bit, right? And our first price target is going to be the top of this, because this is where I see that the people that are like pushing Amazon up, they're really bullish on it, really long on it. This is where they're going to have like their first fight, where they don't want it to go below here. They finally got it past here. They've kept it from going past there with these swing lows in here. If we do break entry, this is where they're going to have their first fight. Plain and simple. After that, we have the bottom here, but then I zoomed into the 4-hour time frame. I just wanted to be a little bit more diligent with this because it is at like all-time highs. So better be safer than sorry. And zooming in, the bottom of this one, we can see that these two candles wick off of the price. This wicks it, this breaks through it, and then just comes right down. It's really close to it. And then finally, the bulls have the power to push through all of these things. So that's why I think that when we come down here, they're going to protect this area because they push through it. If we break through that, then we'll test the bottom of this one. And I'm not reaching for the twos because this one, if you look right here, this bounces off of it exactly right in here. Look at here, here, here. All of this is all like a contention with this price, not down here, but right in here. So I can see that 187.39 is going to be where that battle takes place. And then, of course, the low of the previous week. Not the previous week, the previous week. Okay, I've just confused everybody. Sorry. All right, CVE also looks really good. This is a great one for anybody with smaller accounts that wants to get into swinging, or if you just want to start getting into swinging, but you don't want to really risk a lot of capital. CVE is a great way to test things out. I recommend getting your contracts as close to at the money as possible so that you can get in the money. My own hair just fell in my mouth. That was crazy. All right. Anyways, zooming in to the daily time frame, we can see that we have a price target right here, where all of this is coming into contention with it. You can see all that fight. The top of this three, because all threes, I say this all the time, all threes have algorithms at the top and bottom of them. And then the high of this big old mother candle here. Woo! Right? When we get up to this area, decisions will be made. We will see what those decisions will be, and we will react to them accordingly. After that, CVS. had a nice little push down, just completely like boop, and then went right back up. So it broke the low here, became a 2 down, and then immediately rejected that and started pushing to the upside. Almost became a 3, but it didn't. So that shows that the sellers don't have a dog in the fight quite yet, right? If it had become a 3, then I always consider that like both the buyers and sellers have some skin in the game, and you want to see what happens, which is why threes can be so dangerous to play because jumping into a live 3, I don't really recommend jumping into a live 3. This didn't become a 3, so it gives us a nice actionable signal coming up for a 2-2 reversal. And we are going to come through here, go to the daily time frame. And to be honest, I didn't put my price target here, but you could. So if you're watching this video, here's a little extra price target for you. Right here off the top of this 2 where this 3 is. Now this one's really close by, but look at all this fight that's happening right in here too. Then the top of this failed 2. Then the top of this, I do think that we'll touch this instead of just having it right here. I do think that we'll touch that if we go all the way up. And then last but not least, if we do have like the power to keep pushing up, I think that we'll close the gap. And that's where the gap will close from some quite some time ago, no lie there. It is quite some time ago. But if we do keep going up, that is what we have the potential to do. We have the potential to fill that gap. So we'll see what happens. Just want to see what would happen if I drew that right there. Okay, great. Next is Zoom. Zoom is also on the watch list. Got all of its price targets as well. Congratulations to everybody that made money with me on that one. And we're going to go ahead and just take a look at who's winning this candle, right? And I've shown this a lot, but the buyers always have control from the low to the close. And the sellers, you can see their control from the high to the close. So when you look at this candle here, who has control of this candle? Buyers or the sellers? Buyers do. So even though this is not a failed 2, doesn't need to be for us to see who has control of this candle. We can see the momentum, we can see the pressure pushing to the upside. If it continues and it breaks through the top, then we will contest out these price targets. Now these price targets can be found on the daily time frame. PT1 is going to be at the top of this failed 2 after the 3 because we can see it wicks through it here and then it kept going down. So there could be a strong algorithm there. Top of this 2, or look at how 1, 2, 3 candles could not get and close above this spot. Couldn't do it. Didn't have the strength. So there's something strong here that's protecting this spot. So he's battling for it. The top of the 3 because all 3s. Very nice if you say it with me. That was cool. And then the top of this 2 as well, what we can see is the big spot for it to reach. It's outside of this little area, but if we do break out of here, where it's had some trouble getting out of all of this little area, if we do break out of here past these algorithms, I think we'll come test that one on the daily. All right, XOM. XOM was tired of going down, boosted up, tried to come down again, and is saying, don't think I really want to do that, right? It looks like it's boosting back up again with this nice failed 2. Now, we can see a failed 2 on the daily, but let's just stick with the bigger plan here, right? A bigger plan here is the weekly play. With that being said, PT1 can be found at the top of this 2. Before we keep going to the 1, I think that we'll come test out this, which we can see 1, 2 candles wick through it, couldn't close beneath it. So there is, and look at this candle by itself. Like there's something going on here, right? So we're just going to pay attention to it, be aware of it, and know that if we do break this to the upside, then we'll come test the top of the 1. We will have to make it past this trend line, and then we can test the top of that 3 right in there. So that is XOM on Z Weekly. Wrapping things up for the weekly, we have MRO. MRO with a nice fail too. Now we have these swing low, push back up, we swing low, and now we might be pushing back up to come test these areas out all over again. Moving into the daily time frame, we can see that PT1 is going to be the high of last week. Top of the three, no coincidence, because all threes have. Miss it the time. It's okay. All threes have algorithms at the top and the bottom. Now you know, now you know, now you know. Before we reach the top of this, we're going to come test this bad boy out, because look at how these candles, this candle all cross through it, all wick through it, all wick off of it. Right here is going to be where we test out first before we come test out this candle. And then if we do break past this, then we'll head up into this area and test the top of this failed too, because good golly, Miss Molly, it could not close above that. So I'm not going to reach out here for price targets, because right here is where I could see it had the most trouble getting past. Even if it did, it was quick, came right back. So no need to chase it for that extra little bit. Go for the for sure thing. Remember, every trade is an investment. Go for the investment that has the highest probability. Simple as that. Now we're gonna zoom things into the daily time frame. Daily time frame, we're gonna start things off with ABBV. Be careful with ABBV in the morning. Sometimes spreads can be a little in the mornings if it's breaking entry, but during the day it can be very good. Use the limit trick that I've showed you to adjust your limit order as well, so you can get a nice good fill on that. We do have a beautiful failed two. Last time we failed two off of this area, we ended up pushing down pretty heavy overnight, even with no news, in fact. So we're going to see what we do here. And if we do break through incher, we have a nice big green candle here to find some price targets in. Going into the 30 minutos. Bottom of this one right in here, you can see that 1, 2, 3 candles all wick off of it, 4, 5, 6 candles all wick off of it. So best believe that right here is going to be what we're testing out first. If we do break through this nonsense and choppiness, we'll come test the bottom of this failed too. If we break through that, we'll come test the bottom of this too, where all of this candles wicking off of it. This wicks off into the downside, to the downside, to the downside, finally breaks through. So here we might have some leftover algorithms, people that didn't have their orders filled but still have their trades placed. If we come down to this area, they might fill again. We'll see what happens, and there could be some leftover algorithms there. Then the bottom of that too for the low of not yesterday, because today's Sunday, but the previous trading days day. Cap, something I hate getting pulled over by, even to this day. Don't like it. But I love making money off of the stock because we have a nice failed two here on the daily. So we know what to do here. We know that we're looking for some puts. If we go to the 30-minute time frame, and we can see that we have some pretty easy price targets right in here. Boop. Now we have a big gap between the low of the previous day, and we have a lot of choppiness in here. So right here is where I'm putting that next price target, because here you can see I had a lot of trouble getting down past it. It did. Once it did, it wicked right off of it and pushed back down pretty heavily. False broke it, came back down, couldn't quite reach it, came back down. So what does that tell me is that there are algorithms here. Remember, when support breaks, it becomes resistance. When resistance breaks, it becomes support. Okay. It's a really complicated way of just saying that algorithms switch. What was once a sell algorithm will be a buy algorithm. Once a buy algorithm will switch to be a sell algorithm once those spots are won over. The sell algorithm, or excuse me, the buy algorithm lost here, right? So the sellers won. When the sellers won, now it became a sell algorithm, and it pushed to the downside, pushed to the downside, pushed to the downside, then it broke. Now it might be a buy algorithm the next time that we get there. So we need to be careful with that. And that's why it's good to understand algorithms. So little fun tidbit there. Boy, I do love talking about stocks. And then the final price target is right at the bottom of that. All right, coming over into CRM, which took out, I think it was 2 price targets that were on the watch list the previous day. took two of them right in here. We're gonna break this, test out the previous day's high. We just can't ignore it. I hate that it's so close. But look at this wick. Are we just gonna say no? We're just gonna ignore the data there and just hope that it keeps going? No, we're gonna be aware of it. If we get past it, then that becomes our stop loss, which is in profit, and then we keep riding it out if it keeps going. We're gonna zoom into the 30 minutos here to find some price targets. Now, some of these are really easy to see. Obviously, of course, the high of the wick here. Then we have some contention coming in here, pushing to the downside. I think that's because the algorithm was right in here that pushed it to the downside. And then this middle in between here has some choppiness all through here that we can see. So right here, the top of this wick off of this two, that's going to be where the algorithm is. You can see it all right in here. You can see the algorithm all throughout here too. All throughout here, you can see it. So keep that in mind when it comes to your PTs for CRM. And shout out to all my real estate people that, make money off of CRM trading as well. That's fun. I love taking things that I use in real life and then trading. All right, so got a nice fail two here off of KR. KR is a nice little grocery store, depending on where you are in the company or in the country. You can make money off of this company. Nice 30-minute candle here is going to give us our price targets for that failed two that we got. And we're going to have, of course, the low of the one, right? We can't ignore the low of the one. So we have a 2-1-2-2 reversal forming here. So this is a price target, but we have to extend the previous two. So low of the one, next price target here off of this big ass rocket ship that took off. Next price target right in here, we can see what's happening. Bounce to the upside. Tried getting back up, failed, pushed back down, tried again, oops. Then it ran all the way through. Then the low of the two right in there. So that is going to be where the price targets are for KR. KR is actually something that I'm really looking at because I just love failed twos after ones. They're one of my favorite setups ever. 2-1-2-2 reversals are cream de la crop. All right, Oxy, another gas company to make some money off of. Gas is expensive these days, so let's just take money from the oil companies on the stock market and put it into our gas tanks, right? Failed two off of the three is going to set up a beautiful rev strat for us. 30-minute candles right in here. You can see this failed two is going to be where our first price target is. The low of the day is going to be where our next one is. It's the low of the three right in here. As you can see, this is Thursday, and when I move further back, it becomes Wednesday. Now, this is going to be the next price target, and this is going to be the next price target. And this is a great example of steps, right? It's like stairs, step, 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 right? Where you can see these large wicks on it, very easy to identify what price targets are going to be. If we come down to this area, are the buys going to trigger back in? If not, we can keep going. Do the buys activate here? If they do, then we're out, we make profit, we're good. If they don't, then we keep going. So you can keep writing it out depending on where you see it actually getting that fight from. PDD. Now, again, this is not a fail two. Last time we were up into this area, we did crash on down. We just wicked off of it again, and we're giving not quite a fail two, but draw your boxes on it again. Remember, the buyers have control from the low to the closing. Sellers have control from the high to the closing. Draw your boxes on this and tell me who has more power in this candle. It's the sellers. Sellers do. So we don't need it to be a failed two. We can identify it still. If we do breakthrough entry, we'll come test the bottom of this two, bottom of this one, the bottom of this one, and the bottom of this one. And here, because that's just going to be where our first swing is taking place. So this is going to be where they have the decision to make if they want to protect their long positions or not. And if they get stopped out, then it could trigger us down into coming and taking this out, where I believe that we could still see some people getting stopped out, which pushes us even lower, and we could see a nice little domino effect happen there with PDD. Disney, again, not a failed two, but look at this candle. It's not a shooter. This is definitely a pin bar, right? It's not a spinning top because it's not in the middle. So this is a pin bar. Pin bars are great, great, great candles to trade, right? In this case, this is a bearish pin bar. Just because it's green does not mean that it's bullish. This candle is no means bullish at all. I don't care if it closed 10, 20, 2 pennies higher than what it opened. This is a candle that is controlled by the sellers now. The sellers have pushed it all the way down to here. The buyers have pushed it up to here by the final of the day. That being said, if we break entry, we're going to come test out these lows all over again. It did have some trouble getting down into this area, but that doesn't mean that we won't test out the spots in between before we get down to here where it had some trouble getting even lower. So if we zoom into the 30-minute time frame, we can see price target here, price target here, and then the price target here. Now this is very obvious because you can see that we are wicking off of it, cracking through it, and then coming right back down off of it. These candles, this one right in here, we're wicking off of it here, pushing to the upside. Here, we barely break through it, and then we wick right back up. We break through it, and then wick right back up again. So here's going to be that next spot, and then, of course, just the low, because we don't want to, you know, swing down for this. I mean, you could, but to me, that extra 15 cents is not really going to be worth it. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. All right, Uber. Now, Uber looks amazing as well. Now, Uber is, really staying within this trend line, right? It did break out, but then look, it pushed back down, tried to break out again, and the seller said, "Get the fuck out of here. You ain't getting above our trend line here. We're pushing this right back down, right?" And if it continues to do that, then we can see it break entry and come take out some price targets in here. Price targets are going to be found on the 30 minutos. Boom. Bottom of this failed two right in here, where we can see that the tops of these candles are having a real hard time getting above this area. Bottom of the one, where we can see the bottoms of these candles are having a really hard time getting beneath that area. And take this tool, guys. When you draw this out, take it and put it on and look at this. Look at this. Right? It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Data. Bottom of this one, and then would you look at this? So we can see how it's having a lot of trouble off of these areas. Next one would be right here, where you can see how this is having a lot of trouble getting above this area, but it's the bottom of this candle I'm putting it on. And then the bottom of the three, where again you can see this is a cool tool. Make sure you use your horizontal line sometimes to help you see the algorithms. Doesn't have to be your price level tool all the time. So yeah, let's have some fun this week. Let's have some fun. Big earnings it's like the first week of big earnings for this quarter. Lots of banks. I know Netflix is having earnings, so we'll see what happens with that. If there's any gamblers out there, remember, just take some of your profits and gamble with it. Not all of it. Don't go negative trying to play an earning play for what you've done for the month so far. So God bless. I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for tuning in, and happy trading.